a US Navy destroyer locks onto a suspicious vessel in the Caribbean. No flag, no identification. What followed was a series of precision tactics and $13 million in hidden cocaine, all unfolding under the watch of advanced maritime patrols. The ship's lack of an AIS beacon and any visible markings instantly set off alarms among military analysts monitoring the region's trafficking corridors. The Navy's response was swift, but what they found underwater would change everything. This was no ordinary encounter in the Caribbean, a region where the stakes are measured in lives, security, and the relentless flow of cartel operations. In the heart of the Caribbean's maritime crossroads, a vessel moved through the water with deliberate anonymity. Known as the Funnel, this choke point funnels cartel boats north, blending them among countless legitimate ships and complicating any effort to distinguish friend from foe. The ship in question displayed no AIS beacon, no flag, and no identification. 3 immediate red flags for any patrol operating in these waters. That radio silence was more than a technicality. It was a calculated move by traffickers hoping to vanish into the traffic. The absence of identifiers wasn't just a minor infraction. In the Funnel, such silence is a warning, an unmistakable sign that a vessel is operating outside the bounds of international law, likely carrying illicit cargo. Cartels use this tactic to their advantage, exploiting the region's density and the confusion of overlapping trade routes. The Funnel's geography, with its maze of converging paths, enables traffickers to mask their movements among the noise of commercial shipping. Yet, this environment also sharpens the focus of those tasked with interdicting illegal shipments. Spotting a vessel that refuses to be seen is a formidable challenge. The Caribbean covers hundreds of thousands of square miles, and traffickers count on that scale for cover. But on this day, the US Navy relied on a critical asset, a P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol Aircraft. High above the surface, the Poseidon's radar and infrared sensors can spot hidden vessels miles away, even those running dark. Its systems track not only the location, but also the speed, trajectory, and behavior of vessels, quickly flagging anything that deviates from established shipping patterns. The Poseidon's crew scanned the Funnel's crowded lanes, filtering out routine traffic to focus on anomalies. The nameless ship's path was erratic, its movements inconsistent with legitimate trade or fishing operations. Instead of following a direct route, it slowed, drifted, and changed course without apparent reason. That pattern, paired with the lack of identification, left little doubt. In these waters, such behavior almost always signals a trafficking operation attempting to slip through undetected. But spotting it was only the beginning. The Poseidon relayed its findings to the USS Gravely, a guided missile destroyer assigned to maritime homeland defense. The Gravely's crew, already vigilant, shifted to a heightened state of readiness. The destroyer was operating far from US shores, positioned in the Funnel precisely to intercept vessels like this, those that try to exploit the vastness of the sea to move contraband north. The alert from the Poseidon provided not just a target, but a rare opportunity to intervene before the shipment could disappear into the network of smaller boats and remote drop points that define cartel logistics. The challenge with unregistered vessels extends beyond their anonymity. Many are hastily modified for speed and cargo capacity, stripped of unnecessary weight, and optimized for repeated runs across the region. Their operators count on the volume of maritime traffic and the limitations of conventional patrols to shield them. But the combination of the Poseidon's aerial surveillance and the Gravely's onboard systems changed the equation. With real-time intelligence, the destroyer could close the gap quickly, reducing the trafficker's window for escape. The Gravely's crew prepared for contact, relying on both technology and training. Interdicting a suspicious vessel in the Funnel requires coordination, discipline, and the ability to act without hesitation. The destroyer's radar and communication systems locked onto the target, tracking its every move. The crew understood that radio silence on international waters is not just a sign of evasion, it is an active threat to maritime order, demanding an immediate and precise response. As the Gravely drew closer, the stakes became clear. The vessel's refusal to respond to hails confirmed its intent to remain hidden. The destroyer's presence forced the traffickers' hand, leaving them with few options. In these moments, the advantage shifts to the better prepared force, the one with superior intelligence, coordination, and resolve. The funnel's chaos favors those who can disappear, but on this day, the combination of advanced surveillance and decisive action left little room for luck. The Gravely now faced the complex task of intercepting a vessel likely carrying millions in illicit cargo, all while operating in a region where every move is shadowed by uncertainty. What does it take for a Navy destroyer to intercept a cartel shipment before it even reaches US shores? The answer begins with the Gravely's mission, a mission defined by vigilance, coordination, and the relentless pursuit of those who exploit the world's busiest maritime corridors. On board the USS Gravely, operations shifted immediately as the alert from the P-8 Poseidon came through. The destroyer, an Arleigh Burke-class vessel, is engineered not only for combat, but as a floating command center. Its systems and crew designed to adapt to threats far from home. Deployed from Norfolk, Virginia, under US Northern Command, the Gravely's assignment is to intercept threats before they reach US waters, with drug trafficking as a primary focus. The ship's radar suite, capable of scanning hundreds of miles, form the backbone of its surveillance. These systems, integrated with real-time intelligence from the Poseidon and the MQ-4C Triton drone, allow the Gravely to track even the most elusive contacts. The radar's reach is critical in the Caribbean, where traffickers rely on small, fast boats and evasive routes. The destroyer's sensors filter the noise of legitimate shipping, highlighting anomalies. A vessel with no AIS, no flag, and erratic movements stands out immediately. The Gravely's bridge became the nerve center for the operation. Communications flowed seamlessly between the ship, aircraft overhead, and Coast Guard units. This networked approach provided a detailed, real-time map of the operational environment, with every shift in the target's course logged and analyzed. The destroyer's technology, however, is only part of the equation. The human element is just as crucial. A Coast Guard law enforcement detachment, LIDET 401, experts in maritime interdiction, stood by for boarding. Their presence on board the Gravely is standard for missions targeting smuggling operations. LIDET teams are trained to board and search vessels under challenging conditions, identify concealment tactics, and handle evidence to ensure legal integrity. Their expertise complements the Navy's technological edge, providing the capability to physically interdict, secure, and process suspect vessels. As the Gravely closed the distance, the unknown cargo raised the stakes hundreds of miles from any backup. Every interdiction carries inherent risk. Traffickers have been known to destroy evidence, resist boarding, or attempt escape, even at the last moment. The destroyer's role as a command center is to minimize those risks, using surveillance to box in the target, deploying RHIBs for rapid approach, and coordinating every move between Navy and Coast Guard personnel. Standard protocol began with repeated hails to the unidentified vessel. International maritime law requires ships to identify themselves and respond to authorities, especially in contested waters. The silence that followed was telling. In these operations, refusal to answer is not just a violation, it is a signal of intent. The Gravely's command team responded by preparing 2 RHIBs, each carrying LEDET officers and Navy support for deployment. The compact fast boats allow for close quarters maneuvering around a suspect vessel, essential for safe and effective boarding. The destroyer's crew worked in concert. Radar operators tracked the target's movements. The bridge coordinated with the Poseidon and Triton for aerial overwatch, and the LIDET team prepared their boarding kits. The goal was clear: intercept, board, and secure the vessel before any evidence could be lost or destroyed. The Gravely's presence in the funnel left the traffickers with few options. The destroyer's systems had already mapped escape routes, and the layered surveillance ensured that any sudden maneuvers would be detected and countered. Unknown cargo raised the tension. Every sealed hull is a gamble. The Gravely's command team understood that speed and precision were critical. Each moment of silence from the target increased the likelihood that contraband was on board and that the traffickers were preparing to resist or destroy evidence. The ship's tactical advantage lay in its ability to coordinate surveillance, interdiction assets, and law enforcement expertise in real time. With the target still silent, the Gravely's bridge gave the order that would decide everything. The boarding unfolded with methodical precision as Lidette 401 deployed from the Gravely, their RHIBs maneuvering alongside the unmarked vessel. The ship, anchored and drifting in the current, presented an unusual sight, where most unregistered vessels might attempt a hasty escape. This crew made no effort to flee. The 3 men aboard remained motionless on deck, their posture rigid, offering no reaction to the approaching law enforcement. For the boarding team, this stillness was more than unsettling. It was a calculated tactic. Traffickers sometimes instruct crews to feign compliance or maintain silence, hoping to avoid escalation or buy time. But the absence of any activity, no movement, no conversation, no visible fishing gear, stood out as a deliberate attempt to mask the vessel's true purpose. As Lidette 401 prepared to board, their training in maritime interdiction and crime scene management guided every step. Boarding a vessel suspected of cartel ties is rarely straightforward, because smugglers design hidden holds and false panels to conceal their cargo. The team advanced under the Navy's visit, board, search, and seizure doctrine, aware that every compartment could hide evidence or present danger. The upper deck reinforced their suspicions. It was bare, with no nets, tools, or the clutter of a working fishing boat. Instead, the space was engineered for concealment, stripped of anything that might draw attention or complicate a search. Moving below deck, the boarding team encountered the vessel's hold, sealed with layers of plastic wrap and duct tape. These materials, precisely applied, are a hallmark of cartel logistics, used to shield illicit cargo from saltwater, humidity, and detection. Carefully slicing through the wrappings, the team uncovered 19 square bundles, each meticulously triple-wrapped in burlap tape and heavy plastic. The packaging was consistent with professional narco-trafficking operations. On each bundle, a green S symbol was stamped, marking the shipment's origin and intended destination. Cartels use these logos to track shipments across borders, ensuring accountability within their distribution networks. Opening the bundles revealed compressed bricks of cocaine. The haul totaled 860 pounds, with an estimated street value of $13,665,000. The volume and packaging signaled the scale of the operation. This was not a small, opportunistic run, but a coordinated shipment with significant financial implications. The Caribbean's role as a transit corridor means that each successful interdiction disrupts a much larger supply chain, inflicting both material and reputational losses on trafficking organizations. The professionalism of the packaging, the use of cartel logos, and the vessel's engineered design pointed directly to a sophisticated network with established routes and procedures. Evidence handling became the immediate priority. Lidette 401 moved quickly to preserve the integrity of the seizure, tagging, photographing, and logging each bundle according to strict chain of custody protocols. Every step was documented to ensure that the evidence would withstand legal scrutiny, closing off potential defenses related to mishandling or procedural errors. The suspects were restrained and prepared for transfer, their silence and lack of resistance now serving as further evidence of coordinated trafficking rather than innocent passage. The vessel itself was impounded, its structure and markings providing additional intelligence for ongoing investigations into cartel logistics and maritime tactics. The impact of the operation extended beyond the immediate seizure. Removing a shipment of this size from circulation represented a substantial financial loss for the cartel, undermining both its revenue and its reliability to buyers downstream. Such disruptions force traffickers to adapt, often at significant cost, as they alter routes, invest in new concealment methods, or seek alternative vessels. Each successful interdiction adds friction to the network, complicating logistics and eroding the confidence of those involved in the trafficking chain. With the bales tagged and suspects cuffed, the team had struck a major blow against a sophisticated smuggling network. The interdiction was not just a tactical win, but a strategic disruption, setting in motion a series of consequences that would ripple through the cartel's operations. The vessel, now in custody, became a new source of intelligence, its design and records offering further insights into trafficking patterns and future threats. This single operation, executed with precision and discipline, would have implications far beyond the $13.65 million in seized cocaine, challenging the adaptability and resilience of the networks that depend on the Caribbean's maritime corridors. The strategic consequences of this interdiction reach well beyond the immediate seizure of $13,650,000 in cocaine. The operation's true weight lies in its disruption of cartel infrastructure, achieved through the coordinated efforts of Campaign Martillo, a multinational initiative designed to intercept narcotics in transit across the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific. By targeting shipments before they reach US shores, Campaign Martillo compels trafficking routes to collapse closer to their point of origin, undermining the reliability and confidence that cartels depend on to move product north. Cartels rely on maritime corridors like the Caribbean Funnel to shift large quantities of narcotics. When a shipment is intercepted, the impact ripples through the entire network. The loss is not limited to financial setback. It erodes trust at every level of the supply chain. Buyers question supplier reliability. Middlemen tasked with overseeing transfers face scrutiny or retaliation. And the failure introduces risk into relationships that demand certainty. These disruptions destabilize the organizational structures cartels use to maintain control, as each failed delivery sows doubt and forces the network to adapt under pressure. Campaign Martillo's strategy emphasizes disruption at sea, leveraging the combined capabilities of US Navy destroyers, Coast Guard teams, and the navies of dozens of allied nations. This alliance brings together aircraft, drones, and maritime patrols to monitor trafficking corridors and anticipate cartel movements. Each participating nation contributes naval or aerial resources, creating overlapping enforcement that narrows traffickers' options and increases the likelihood of detection. The operation involving the USS Gravely, with its integration of advanced radar and real-time intelligence from the P-8 Poseidon, demonstrates how multinational coordination translates into effective interdiction. Cutting off shipments at sea does more than deny cartels their cargo. It strikes at the financial foundations that sustain their broader criminal activities. Cartel revenue from drug trafficking is the fuel for bribery, weapons procurement, and organized violence. Cutting this revenue stream curbs bribes, weapons flows, and cartel violence in transit countries. The effect is both immediate and cumulative. Each successful interdiction reduces the resources available to corrupt officials, arms dealers, and the criminal networks that destabilize entire regions. This process supports local governments in stabilizing and developing their societies, shifting their focus from combating entrenched criminal power to rebuilding institutions and fostering economic growth. For US national security, the implications are direct. Every pound of cocaine stopped at sea is a pound that will not reach American communities. The relationship is clear. Reduced drug availability correlates with fewer cases of addiction, overdoses, and the secondary crimes that follow in the wake of substance abuse. The removal of 860 pounds of cocaine in a single operation translates into measurable public health and safety gains, reinforcing the broader objective of safeguarding American lives and communities. The success of an operation like this also depends on meticulous evidence handling and prosecution. Each bundle of cocaine was documented, logged, and preserved in accordance with federal procedures, ensuring that the evidence would stand up in court. The suspects detained now face federal drug trafficking charges, with penalties designed to not only punish, but also deter future attempts. Maintaining custody of both the vessel and its cargo as evidence sends a clear signal. Maritime interdiction is not just about seizure, but about dismantling the operational capacity of trafficking organizations through legal and procedural rigor. In response to these losses, traffickers are driven to costly, risky methods like semi-submersibles, disguised fishing boats, and advanced counter-surveillance measures. Each adaptation increases their operational expenses and exposes them to greater risk. The constant evolution of cartel tactics is a direct result of sustained interdiction pressure. Campaign Martillo's continued investment in naval and aerial technology forces criminal organizations into less favorable positions, making each shipment more difficult and expensive to move. Viewed in the context of ongoing maritime security operations, this interdiction is one step in a larger campaign of attrition. Each success reinforces the network of enforcement while further degrading the structures traffickers rely on. The message to cartels is unambiguous. The routes that once offered safe passage are now under constant threat. But cartels won't stop adapting. How will Campaign Martillo evolve next? Interdictions like this one extend far beyond their immediate results. By seizing $13 million in cocaine, the Gravely and Ledette delivered a direct blow to cartel networks. This operation was not just about intercepting drugs. It demonstrated the value of integrating advanced surveillance platforms like the P-8 Poseidon with the disciplined expertise of Navy and Coast Guard personnel. Their coordination and precision reflect the importance of sustained investment in both technology and training to counter evolving trafficking tactics. Campaign Martillo's collaborative framework underscores the necessity of international partnerships in maritime security. If precision maritime operations fascinate you, subscribe and stay tuned as we explore more hidden operations at sea.